After hidden audio recordings of King Charles and Queen Camilla unexpectedly appeared, Prince William was taken aback. Once buried private recordings have surfaced online, rekindling a scandal that the royal family had hoped would be forgotten. Panic is growing inside Buckingham Palace, and the monarchy is facing fresh criticism from the public. The leak began as a murmur as soon as it reached the royal walls, but in a matter of hours, Buckingham Palace was in crisis mode. When aides told Prince William that an ancient recording of King Charles III and Queen Camilla had reappeared, this time with far greater clarity and potentially new content, it was the first indication that anything was wrong. William was apparently taken aback. The recording, which gained notoriety as a component of the 1989 Camillagate controversy, had already been disseminated, but it was now making a comeback in a digital era where nothing is silent or contained. William didn't believe it at first, according to those close to the palace. According to reports, he insisted on confirmation, asking senior employees if it was merely a repetition or anything more. The scenario quickly got worse. While communications teams tried to determine the origin and extent of what had surfaced, advisors initiated internal procedures for possible media leaks. While some conjectured that it originated from a digital archive, others were concerned about a darker interpretation, such as an inside leak or a deliberate release intended to harm the monarchy. When the initial articles appeared online and tabloid teasers hinted at the uncensored content of the recording, panic broke out. Royal analysts began analyzing the scenario within a day. William saw the situation as a catastrophic complication. His father's previous private remarks were used as public ammo once more. Confusion ensued right away. Was something new added to the mix, or was this just the same old tampon call? It was strange timing. Rumors of internal strife have put the royal family under increasing scrutiny in recent months, and this revelation has only fueled the flames. To strengthen control, the palace took action. Requests from the media were blocked. Employees were told not to speak. Attorneys started examining what, if anything, could be done to minimize harm. Insiders claim that William was torn between strategy and rage. He was aware that any public error could exacerbate the situation, and remaining silent could be just as dangerous. "We didn't see this coming," an insider acknowledged. "This was more than a decade-old tape. And we don't know what else might be out there." It was about what it represented, a monarchy plagued by its history, and compelled to confront it once more in front of the world. William saw the leak as a direct danger to the stability of the kingdom he is getting ready to inherit, as well as to his father's reputation. The crisis was merely getting started. There are startling disclosures on the tapes. The audio recording that initially stunned the world in the early 1990s is the same one that set Buckingham Palace on fire, but it has resurfaced with a clearer, cleaner version that may contain previously unreleased content. It revolves around the infamous 1989 phone call between then Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, which was so personal and private that it became one of the most damaging scandals in royal history. The initial leak, commonly referred to as Camillagate or Tampongate, exposed extremely flirty conversations. While still married to Princess Diana, Charles made remarks to Camilla that went down in tabloid history. The odd statement, "I want to live inside your trousers," and the now famous, "God forbid, a Tampax, just my luck." The call had a clearly personal, raw, intimate, and unroyal tone. This time, the tape's format and presentation are different. The version that was leaked seems to have been digitally restored. It was first shared on private channels before being picked up by international media. According to royal commentators, the release is intentional rather than coincidental. Although the cause is yet unknown, the effects were felt right away. Early analyses of the material indicate that new context has either been added or previously unheard lines have surfaced. These could be parts that were either never transcribed or left out during the initial incident. The tape is already causing emotional and reputational harm, though it's unclear if it has any criminal ramifications. Media outlets jumped right in. Breakdowns of the transcript have been published by Harper's Bazaar, Time, and several royal-focused websites, rekindling public interest in the monarchy's worst familial drama. The dialogue, which is characterized as daring and explicit, totally undermines the royal family's hard-won image of decency and responsibility. Additionally, it's unclear why the recording is referred to as hidden. Some claim this version contains audio that has never been released to the public, while others think it is a modernized version of the same recording. Speculation is rampant in the absence of palace confirmation. One royal watcher wrote, "It's not just about what was said. It has to do with why we are hearing it at this time." The damage is done whether it is new or old, authentic or altered. Once concealed in dusty controversy, Charles and Camilla's past has come back with a bang. Furthermore, the reappearance of his father's private humiliation is a public relations nightmare with no simple solution or historical precedent for William, who is already wary of his own reputation and future. The consequences of Tampongate. This private conversation between Charles and Camilla has rocked the monarchy before, as seen by the leak that is currently making headlines. When British newspapers published a transcript of the 1989 discussion in January 1993, the first controversy known as Tampongate erupted. The public was shocked by what was revealed in the recording, which was allegedly intercepted and captured by an amateur using a radio scanner. The royal family and the media. Charles was still married to Princess Diana at the time. And this video revealed not only infidelity, but also the entire emotional depth of his relationship with Camilla Parker B.S. The most notorious comment, in which Charles joked that he wanted to be reincarnated as Camilla's tampon, made headlines. That one line came to represent all the public detested and dreaded about private scandal, entitlement, and royal secrecy. It made Camilla appear complicit, and Charles looked dumb. The entire monarchy was humiliated by it. The outcry from the media was vicious. The future monarch was ridiculed on the front pages. The royals were made fun of by comedians and late-night shows all around the world. Unprepared for the extent of the humiliation, the palace hurried to minimize the damage while keeping quiet in public. Diana was heartbroken behind the scenes. She reportedly felt physically ill and extremely humiliated at the moment. Their already strained marriage was clearly shattered at that point, and it had a big impact on how the public felt about Diana for years to come. Although it was never verified, there were even rumors that intelligence services had been engaged. It's obvious that someone filmed it, had access, and desired its release. It demonstrated the public's need to hear even the most intimate royal chats and how exposed they may be. Since then, only documentaries, novels, and dramatizations like The Crown have brought Tampongate back into the spotlight as a dark chapter in royal history. The monarchs attempted to hide it and act as though it had never occurred. However, the past is no longer hidden as the tape comes back into the spotlight today. Once more, it's first-page news. This wasn't just a scandal. It was the scandal, said one royal historian. It cracked the illusion of royal perfection wide open. And now, in the age of social media and instant news, its resurrection threatens to do far more damage than it did 3 decades ago. Why did the tapes resurface now? The question now dominating royal and media circles is simple. Why now? Why, after more than 30 years, have these tapes come back to haunt King Charles and Queen Camilla? According to insiders, this was no accidental rediscovery. Multiple experts believe the re-release is deliberate, targeted, and timed to create maximum disruption, possibly to destabilize the monarchy or expose tensions already brewing within. Some believe it could be a fresh leak, perhaps someone with access to a previously unreleased or restored copy of the original recording. Others suggest a digitized archive recently hacked or sold might be the source. In the age of AI and ultra-clear audio restoration, it's easier than ever to revive and enhance old materials. Whatever the case, the resurfacing feels surgical, not random. There are also rumors swirling about political motivations. Could factions within the palace, disgruntled insiders, or even foreign entities be behind it? With King Charles navigating health rumors and Prince William gaining influence, tensions inside the royal court are quietly rising. The tape's reappearance may be designed to undermine Charles's credibility or weaken his standing during a critical phase of his reign. Royal aides are said to be investigating the source, but results so far have been kept under wraps. William, meanwhile, is reportedly questioning whether the leak came from inside or outside the palace walls. If it came from within, it points to serious betrayal. If it came from outside, it signals security failure. Either way, it places the royal family on unstable ground. The timing is also key. With public attention high on royal issues, from succession debates to Harry and Meghan's next moves, releasing this now feels like pouring gasoline on a smoldering fire. The press has already tied the leak to a pattern of decline, suggesting the monarchy is slipping out of step with modern values. "This doesn't feel like coincidence," said one veteran royal journalist. "It feels like someone is pulling strings." Now that he's in the midst, William has to choose how to respond. He's under pressure to defend his father while also protecting his own future. The leak, while old in content, is freshly dangerous and could shift the balance of power both inside and outside the palace. With no one claiming responsibility and no official comment from the palace, the leak has turned into a full-blown mystery. And one thing is certain, this was not the last card to be played, William's stakes. Why this cuts deep for Prince William? This leak is personal and potentially devastating. It's not just about a resurfaced scandal from the past. It's about the fragility of the monarchy's future and his own place within it. The shocking return of the Charles Camilla tapes has forced William into a position he's long tried to avoid, defending a past he had no part in while protecting a future he's expected to lead. According to royal insiders, William was furious when he learned the tapes were circulating again. His anger wasn't directed only at the invasion of privacy, it was at the timing. The monarchy is already facing an image crisis, declining trust, shrinking support among young Britons, and growing debate over its cost and purpose. Now, a decades-old scandal threatens to reopen wounds that had finally begun to heal. William knows that every headline about his father's past drags his own name through the mud. The optics are terrible. A future king trying to modernize the monarchy, while the media revives a moment that symbolizes everything the royals have worked to outgrow. He's also trapped by protocol. If he speaks out, he risks inflaming the story further. If he stays silent, critics accuse him of cowardice. Behind closed doors, William is said to have held several private meetings with senior aides, demanding a containment strategy. He reportedly asked his father's communications team to limit leaks, tighten access, and monitor staff movements. Palace officials have already been instructed to trace the recording's origin, but progress remains slow and the story continues to grow. He's angry because this doesn't just embarrass Charles. It embarrasses the crown, said one royal correspondent, and William takes that personally. Complicating matters further, the public expects William to represent moral integrity, a modern contrast to his father's turbulent past. But this scandal blurs that image, reminding the world of the monarchy's messy humanity. Even if he had nothing to do with the events of 1989, William must now carry their shadow. The longer the palace hesitates to address the tapes, the more power they give to speculation. Rumors swirl about whether William blames Charles's advisors or fears a deeper internal betrayal. Either way, this is not a crisis he can ignore. The stakes aren't just reputational. They're institutional. If the public starts viewing the royal family as deceitful relics rather than dignified leaders, it will undermine the very crown William is destined to wear. And so in this moment, the heir to the throne finds himself in the same impossible position his father once faced, fighting for control over a story he can't rewrite. Charles and Camilla, their defense and dilemmas. For King Charles III and Queen Camilla, the re-emergence of the tapes is a nightmare they thought they'd buried forever. 30 years ago, the scandal nearly destroyed them both. Today, it threatens to erase decades of image rehabilitation and shatter the stability they've worked tirelessly to build since ascending the throne. Charles, now 76, is said to be deeply shaken. Palace aides report. He initially dismissed the reports as recycled gossip, but when audio experts confirmed the clarity and authenticity of the recording, he went silent. Those who have worked with him describe him as visibly deflated. A man forced to relive his greatest humiliation while sitting on the throne his mother once held. Camilla's situation is even more complicated. Once labeled the other woman, she has spent 2 decades rebuilding her reputation, transforming herself from public villain to respected queen consort. Now the leak reopens old wounds and threatens to undo the careful balance she's achieved. Every headline brings back memories of betrayal, mockery, and scorn. This was her worst fear. A royal insider shared she fought to be accepted, and now she's being dragged back into that past. The palace has responded with measured silence, a strategy that's become standard during crises. Legal teams are reportedly reviewing copyright and privacy laws, exploring whether action can be taken against any media outlet that republishes or monetizes the content. But in an age of social media and digital downloads, control is nearly impossible. Once it's out, it's everywhere. Behind the scenes, Charles and Camilla's advisors are divided. Some urge them to issue a short, heartfelt statement, acknowledging the pain and invasion of privacy, while reaffirming their love and duty. Others insist that saying anything will only breathe new life into the scandal. For now, they remain quiet, but the silence is deafening. What makes this moment so dangerous is how it contrasts the monarchy's current narrative. Charles has tried to brand himself as a steady, beautiful monarch, focused on service and tradition. Camilla, by his side, has been portrayed as a symbol of forgiveness and redemption. The tapes mocking intimate humans cut through that carefully crafted image in seconds. The result is a palace once again divided between damage control and denial. And while Charles tries to carry on with royal duties, The shadow of his own voice echoing from 1989 follows him into every room. Media backlash and public firestorm. The moment the tapes resurfaced, the media frenzy ignited like wildfire. Within hours, news outlets across the UK, US, and beyond plastered headlines about King Charles and Queen Camilla's private conversation, reviving a scandal many had never heard in full and others had long tried to forget. But in 2025, the story wasn't just a tabloid scoop. It became a global spectacle powered by the speed of social media and the hunger for royal controversy. On platforms like X, TikTok, and YouTube, clips of the audio, both real and remixed, circulated widely. Within 24 hours, the hashtags Tampongate 2.0 and our Royal League had been viewed millions of times. Reaction was split. Some users mocked the content with memes and parodies, while others expressed shock and disappointment that a sitting monarch had ever spoken in such terms, regardless of when it occurred. Mainstream media took a more cautious tone, but even respected outlets like BBC, The Guardian, and Time acknowledged the explosive nature of the leak. Editors debated how much to publish, with some reprinting partial transcripts while others focused on the fallout rather than the contents. Still, the most salacious lines were impossible to avoid, especially in international tabloids eager to capitalize on royal drama. Critics pounced immediately. Public figures and commentators labeled the tape a disgraceful reminder of royal hypocrisy. Some accused Charles and Camilla of dragging the monarchy into the gutter again. Others argued the leak itself was a vicious invasion of privacy, blaming the media for weaponizing personal moments from a time when neither was on the throne. Supporters of the couple pushed back, saying the conversation was never meant to be public and should be viewed as a human moment between two people in love. Camilla, in particular, earned sympathy from some quarters, with royal commentators reminding audiences how far she'd come from being Britain's most hated woman to a queen trying to lead with quiet dignity. But the most damaging effect came from the confusion and chaos the leak sparked. The palace's silence only fueled wild speculation. Was this part of a larger release? Were more tapes coming? What would you do? The lack of answers created a vacuum the press was happy to fill. This is no longer about what was said, one reporter noted. It's about what else is out there and who's pulling the strings. With royal scandals like Squidgate and Mexit still fresh in public memory, this leak added another chapter to the monarchy's long, complicated relationship with privacy and made it clear that no scandal ever truly disappears. Consequences inside the royal family. While headlines focus on Charles and Camilla, the real tremors are shaking the royal family itself. Insiders say the leak has triggered deep tension behind closed doors, especially between Prince William and King Charles. The trust between them is reportedly strained as William questions how this was allowed to happen at all. Sources claim William is furious, not just over the tape's content, but also the distraction it's caused. With public support for the monarchy already slipping, this scandal pushes things closer to the edge. He's also frustrated by the palace's slow response and is said to be demanding accountability. Elsewhere, reactions vary. Princess Anne, typically stoic, is reportedly disappointed but not surprised. Edward and Sophie have stayed silent, focusing on their duties. Prince Harry, though distanced from royal affairs, is said to feel vindicated, seeing the palace in crisis once again. Whispers of internal investigations are growing. Senior staff are being questioned. Former advisors from the 1980s and 90s have been contacted. Resignations haven't been confirmed, but pressure is building to restructure Charles's communications team. Behind the scenes, the palace is in damage control mode. Public schedules are being revised, and daily strategy meetings are focused on regaining public confidence. But some insiders fear it's already too late. The leak hasn't just embarrassed the royals. It's exposed cracks in their ability to protect secrets. For an institution built on mystique, that may be the real crisis. This has shifted the dynamic in ways we're only beginning to see, said one palace aide. The family may not fully recover. The fallout isn't fading. It's spreading. And its consequences, both personal and institutional, may haunt the monarchy for years. Reputation, legacy, and monarchy under threat. The leak of the Charles-Camilla tapes is more than a scandal. It's a threat to the monarchy's carefully rebuilt image. In a world demanding transparency and integrity, the return of such intimate mocking content hits hard. For King Charles, the timing is cruel. After decades of effort to reshape his public image and earn acceptance, a private 1989 phone call now threatens to define his reign. For Queen Camilla, it's worse. She's gone from a respected figure back to being mocked across media platforms, her voice looped, her dignity questioned. But beyond them, the real damage is to the institution itself. Trust in the monarchy is fading, especially among younger generations and Commonwealth nations like Australia and Canada, where calls for reform or full abolition are gaining ground. It's not just a PR crisis, it's a legitimacy crisis. Now Prince William must manage the fallout. It wasn't his scandal, but it may become his responsibility. If he's passive, his modern image takes a hit. If he takes charge, it could define his future. The royal family stands at a crossroads where image and reality no longer align. And the future of the crown has never looked more uncertain. What comes next? The royal moves to watch. With the tapes now public, the palace is in emergency mode. Behind the scenes, daily strategy meetings are underway at Buckingham Palace and Clarence House. The goal? Stop the damage and take back control. Prince William faces a high-stakes decision. Speak out to protect the monarchy's image or stay silent and avoid being dragged deeper into the mess. Insiders say he's torn. Loyalty versus leadership. Meanwhile, King Charles and Queen Camilla must choose whether to issue a formal statement or wait it out, risking the perception that they're hiding. The palace is also preparing for internal investigations, reviewing access to archives, tightening digital security, and questioning whether staff or outsiders were involved. It's not just one tape, a source warned. It's about what else is out there. This scandal may force the royals to reevaluate access given to journalists, authors, and even Netflix producers. The balance between privacy and public life is now razor thin. Every choice from this point forward will set precedent. And with no guarantee, the leaks will stop here. The monarchy must now fight not just for its image, but for its survival in the digital age. As the dust settles, the monarchy is facing more than just a media crisis. It's confronting a dangerous loss of trust. For William, the damage is real, and the pressure is rising. With the past now haunting the present, the royal family's ability to survive this scandal remains deeply uncertain.